Hi everybody, I'm Steve Tartaglia and this is my daughter Veronica. Veronica, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
You're 10 years old. Today we are going to do a Skillshare in which we show everybody how to make pizza from scratch at home. So Veronica, what are some of the ingredients that we need?
We need some flour.
How much flour do we need?
4.5 cups.
4.5 cups. What else do we need?
We need some salt.
We need some salt. And how much salt? 1 teaspoon. And also?
We need some hot water.
Some hot water. How much?
A cup and a half.
Cup and a half. And it should be hot water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We also need 1 package of the active dry yeast. So the first thing that we do when we start making the dough for the pizza is we dissolve the yeast and the salt into the water in a separate bowl. So why don't you go ahead and do that. Show them how you pour the water in, and I'll pour the water in the bowl. I'll get the yeast going. Okay, and cut that a little bit better. Okay, and then we just dissolve the yeast in there and also the salt. And while that's dissolving, could you pour the flour into our mixing bowl? So we usually use a KitchenAid mixer. This is a cheaper version of a KitchenAid that doesn't actually work that great, but we still use it anyways. However you mix up your dough will be fine, just as long as you use the right ingredients. So we've got the yeast and the salt dissolved in the water, and then we just pour all of that in as well to our bowl, and we add our hook to the mixer, and then we mix it up until we get a dough that is a good consistency. Now the thing about dough is kind of tricky. If it's too dry, you need to add a little bit more water. If it's too wet, you need to add just a little bit more flour. But just do it a little bit at a time until you get the dough the consistency that you like. So we'll start mixing it up, and I'll show it to you when it's all mixed up here. And that should do it. So we've mixed up the dough now for a couple of minutes, and when the dough is ready, it should be really soft and pliable dough. Not too sticky, not really sticky at all, but definitely not hard as a rock at all either. So soft, pliable, not sticky, and you can work it with your hands. Now what we do is we form it into a ball, and we put it on our countertop, and make sure that it's into a ball. And then we take it and sometimes we leave it on the countertop to let it rise, and sometimes we put it in a bowl with some oil that we put oil over the top of it, and we'll cover that up with a towel. However you like to let your dough rise, just kind of depends on the temperature. Let it rise for about an hour, hour and a half, and when the dough is risen completely, then we'll show you the next step. Okay, so now that the dough has been sitting out for a couple of hours, it's risen, and now it's time to pound out the dough to make it into the shell for a pizza. So put it on a well-floured surface. You're going to want to put flour on both sides of the dough. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep it in as much of a circle shape as you can. And you're going to use the tips of your fingers, and you're going to want to just press straight down. And you're going to want to just keep pressing straight down. You don't want to stretch the dough. You actually, when you're pressing down, you want to press towards the center so that the center stays thick. So as you're pressing down, the dough will automatically spread itself. If you use your left hand as a guide, you can keep the dough in a circular shape. Just keep pressing straight down. Every so often, you should turn the dough over and just keep doing the same thing, pressing down, keeping the dough in a circular shape. trying to make sure that the center of the dough stays thick so that you're not having any holes in the dough and you're not stretching it out. The dough is spreading out, but you're not stretching, you're not pulling it out, you're just pushing straight down and letting the dough spread by itself. Sometimes people like to throw it up in the air, like so. We have low ceilings. You want to see it again? Piece of cake. Okay, so there you have it. There is the dough that is ready to make a pizza with. So now what you got to do is you got to take your pizza pan and put a little bit of oil on it. Just a little bit. Spread the oil all on the pan. You can use we just use vegetable oil, but you can really use the grease for a pan. You can grease it with the shortening. That's the word I was looking for, shortening. You can use shortening if you want. Now, once that is done, you want to flip your dough into the pan. So, all right, and now you're ready to dress the pizza. But at this point, what you need to do is you need to turn the oven on to preheat it to 450 degrees. So, okay, so we're back, and so once you've got your pizza dough pounded out and flattened all out in a nice circle shape, what you want to do is you want to oil up the pan, put the dough on the pan, and preheat your oven to 450 degrees. A pizza this size, a large pizza this size, will cook for about 15 or 16 minutes in a preheated oven. So it gives you enough time to put your sauce and your cheese and whatever toppings you want to put on. We like garlic sauce, but we also like tomato sauce. So today I'll demonstrate how to do just a tomato sauce, cheese, and pepperoni pizza. So you just put your sauce in the middle. You put about that much on, and then you do small circles. So you spread it out. You do small circles, so that it's controlled and that the sauce is very even. Remember that with all the toppings, especially the cheese, that everything moves towards the center all the time. So with whatever toppings that you're putting on your pizza, you have to remember that it will all melt towards the center. So put it more heavily on the outside and a little bit lighter on the inside, and you should be fine. So make sure you don't have any dry spots and you don't have any parts that are too thick with sauce, unless you like a lot of sauce. Okay, that looks like it's pretty evenly spread. Now, one thing I want to show you is that if you can see this, that we don't go all the way up to the very edge. What we do is we leave about a finger width away from the edge, and that will actually form a natural crust. So some people like to pinch the dough all the way around it to build up the crust, but that's really not necessary as long as you leave about a finger width away from the edge, because that will puff the dough up and make a nice crust for you. So there's the sauce, it's on, and now we put the cheese on, and make sure that you keep it fairly even. Keep it fairly even, but more on the outside than you would towards the middle. Yeah, go ahead, Lauren. You can put that. We like a lot of cheese in this family, but some people don't like as much cheese. Just put as much cheese on as you like. A little bit lighter in the middle. And then, same with the pepperoni, or whatever topping you like. You want to do that? Some people like to do it really methodically. 1, 2, 3. Other people just kind of go like this and spread it all around, you know, because they don't like their pizza to be too bland. I like my pizza to be really bland, though. You want to go down?
Huh?
There you go. Okay. A little more? Okay, very good. The last thing is, some people like to put cheese shake, you know, grated cheese over the top of it. Sometimes we do that. It really does add another flavor to it. But today we're just not going to do that. So what you do is you take a pizza and you put it straight into the oven. And preheat it to 450 degrees. And I like to set the timer to 15 minutes, but it usually takes about 16 minutes. Depends on you. Okay, it looks like the pizza might be ready. This is actually cooked for about 17 minutes, I think. If it's ready, it's usually brown on the bottom of the crust, and also the cheese is brown. And that does look like it's ready. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Brown on the top, and definitely browning on the bottom. Can you see that? Okay, very good. So that pizza just looks pretty good. Looks ready. Then you cut it. You take your pizza cutter and you press down really hard, so it goes all the way. You do not need to make a sawing action most of the time. If you have a really good pizza cutter, if you don't have a really good one, you might have to just make the sawing like that. But usually, if you press down hard, you just go straight through the first time, and there you go. You see. Obviously don't have a very good